Hey guys, this is Mark from Mark Vlogs Watches, and I'm here today to talk to you in an episode called 5 Things I Hate About the Rolex GMT Batman. Now you might be saying to yourself, how could you even find 5 things to hate about the Rolex GMT Batman, Mark? Well, listen, let me state it up front. On balance, I really like the watch, but there's always something that you can sink your teeth into, and in this case, there are 5 issues. And in fact, I want you to watch through to the very end of this video because I'm going to give you a 6th bonus hatred point to discuss. Also, before we go any further, I would like to encourage you to please like and subscribe to my videos so we can do this again. Turn on that little alarm bell thingy so that you know when I've uploaded stuff. But before we go any further, it's time for a quick wristwatch check. Rolex Batman GMT. You are seeing one of the things I hate about this watch right now. Okay, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. Let's turn on the hate. Let's turn up the flame. Cut! Well, let's take a little bit of a look at this watch, the Batman in the sunlight. And what you're seeing right now is that brilliant blue bezel. And that is really what you are paying for in this watch, is that that blue portion of the Cerachrome ceramic bezel. That represents the daytime, whereas the black portion in the upper half of the numbers represents the nighttime when you're tracking your different GMT time zone. So that is extremely handy, that color difference. What you're really paying for here is that brilliant blue, and it's going to set you back a pretty penny to get it. I just wanted you to see how good it looks here in natural sunshine and daylight. Utterly brilliant. But there's a but, and let's get into that now. Well, we are outside in brilliant sunshine, but what does this thing look like in the nighttime, let alone in the shade during the day? So let's take a walk here into the shadow of that tree. And very quickly you are going to see, in fact, here it is, instantaneously the blue changes and it becomes almost unnoticeable unless you tilt it just right in the light. So we're in partial shade right now, but I'm going to be moving and twisting around a little bit so you can see the varying color of this bezel. It's constantly changing, which in a way is nice because it looks like different angles, different versions of the blue. But let me tell you something, this is still in a fairly sunny condition. You get out of the direct sunlight into an indoor area like this, and that blue fades away to almost nothing. Now, the lume looks great, but we are inside kind of a garage, and we're in partial light here. This is even more lit up than you would be at night, and it looks decent on the one hand. On the other hand, definitely that blue fades away unless you hit a little patch of sunlight. So you really start to lose the value of that blue bezel in indoor lighting, particularly at night, which represents, like half of your day, or if you're a night owl, it's most of your day. So you want to go out to a restaurant and press, you're not going to really do it in this watch. This watch in an indoor, well-lit restaurant with candles is going to look exactly like the black GMT. You get a slightly better look at that here. And this is an indoor against a black painted background. So have a look. This is the number one thing that I hate about this guy. That bezel, although brilliant, it disappears in the artificial light, and you might as well have the black one. You paid all that money for nothing. The second thing I really hate about the Rolex GMT Batman is the price. Now, the regular black ones have shot up crazy in price. You're seeing a Chrono 24 listing here for a GMT Master II just in black with the black ceramic bezel. And even that, I think, is like shot up a little higher by the price of maybe around $500 higher than it used to be. But you're going to pay a huge premium for this Batman, so let's take a look at that now. Now, I'm not saying that it is impossible to find a Batman or a BLNR under $10,000. I'm just saying it's getting increasingly more challenging, number one. And number two, there is a substantial differential between the price of the black and the Batman. And if you think about it, really the only difference between those two watches is half a blue bezel, and the GMT hand is in blue rather than in green as it is on the black one. So those are two tiny little differences, and you are paying a premium of minimum $1,500, maybe up to $2,000, $2,500 in difference in price. So the price of the Batman is really nuts considering the tiny little additional details or differences between it and the black. And it is the second thing I really hate about this watch. It really gave me pause for thought about whether I should even buy it. Was it worth that premium? Before we get off the subject of price and those little details, have a quick look at the black one. While I mentioned I have been speaking about prices on the used or secondary gray market, and that's important because these guys right now are very scarce at the authorized dealer. So you're going to have trouble finding any of these guys at the authorized dealer at this time, which is why we're talking about used prices. On the dealer side, if you manage to get lucky enough to find any of this at an authorized dealer, the list price is really only about $500 to $700 more for the Batman, I want to say. However, good luck finding even a black one right now. The third thing I hate about the Batman is those polished center links. I have a love-hate relationship with them. I love them because they add some bling and wrist presence, but I really hate them because they scratch constantly and they are always smudgy. You touch them in any way, shape, or form, and you're wiping thumbprints and constantly polishing your watch. So those polished center links are definitely a problem. The fourth thing I hate about this piece is the clasp. Now, it is a handsome clasp on the one hand. On the other hand, it scratches and smudges, actually even worse than the polished center links because you're desk diving and it's constantly in contact with things. But there's more to hate, and that is I hate that this is not a glide lock. Now, it does have the Rolex patented Easy Link measly little 5mm adjustment, but that's not nearly enough for me. I'm really used to the glide lock clasp on my James Cameron Deep Sea Sea Dweller, so I never really have to mess with the links of that watch. But with my Batman, I am constantly, well, not constantly, but definitely in the winter time, I have to subtract the link with a screwdriver, and in the summer, I have to add one back. And that's really a pain. I find it much easier to adjust a glide lock clasp, and I can't believe that on a watch of this value, they haven't added that. So I really, really don't like this clasp. The number 5 thing that I dislike about the Batman is the Cyclops. Now, that is not unique to the Batman or to the GMT. The sub also has it, and so does the Datejust. But I don't like it. First of all, it's like a wart on top of your crystal. And secondly, you see that flat edge that we're zeroing in on there? Well, that is a collector of schmutz. So you will constantly be taking a toothbrush or a Q-tip to wipe that off. Ugh. Well, there you have the 5 things I hate about the Batman, and here is a 6th bonus piece of hatred, and that is the false air of exclusivity. You know, they make out as though this is like some rare and incredibly precious thing like a Paul Newman Daytona, and the reality is it's not. They are all over the secondary market. They are all over the gray market. Yep, they're hard to find at the authorized dealer, but that's just because Rolex has them all locked down. The reality is that if you talk to a collector of Rolex, we all have one of these guys. You know what? They're just not that special.